Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are RiffTrax. My name is Bill Corbett. I'm here with Mike Nelson, Kevin Murphy, Conor Lastoka, and Sean Thomason. And we're here to talk about our new book called The Naked Clone, a Nick Nolte mystery. One of the many Nick Nolte mysteries. No, it's the very first one. There may be more. We're really proud of it. We had a lot of fun writing it, but I thought we'd start out just maybe giving you a little background, if you will. Mike, how did we come to sort of be obsessed with Nick Nolte? Like, what was the origin myth of this project?
It's a good question. I think we just we saw him. We saw a video of him years ago rooting around in a dumpster in Santa Monica, looking for his briefcase or something. He's wearing like, I don't know. You could look up the video. I might be wrong about this, but I feel like he was wearing like hospital,
Yeah,
sweats
like
or something,
surgical
like surgical
scrubs, almost
scrubs, and
pajama-like.
like maybe a hat that he found in a dumpster.
He
And
looked like the dude. He looked like the dude, pretty much.
yeah, and TMZ was saying, like Mr. Nolte, because they just, TMZ is always in Santa Monica looking for some star, and then like Nolte's like going through a dumpster. Someone stole my briefcase and threw it in here. And it just plays into what we thought about Nolte, what he was, and so we started doing the character in our riffs, and I think it just kind of grew from there.
I will say that I think we started actually just referring to him as we did in the early days. And
Yes.
then came the real tipping point when Mike Nelson first did Nick Nolte's voice. And it was so fun. We just kept expanding on it. And I think like at least once I tried it, and at least once, Kevin, you might have tried it. But Mike has got the real, like, you can feel the damage being done. And
Yeah.
it's so accurate. So we kept writing bigger and bigger bits about his criminal shenanigans and general hobo lifestyle. Um,
Yeah.
so that's kind of our obsession with Nick. Conor, can you talk about like how we came to the book? Because we just kind of like we're talking about it for a while, right?
Yeah, we've been talking about doing stuff like this for a long time, and even tried to get the ball rolling on one that was going to be like a serial novel involving the Seneschal. After we did that Seneschal short in a medieval
Almost
town.
as famous as Nick Nolte, the Seneschal.
Almost.
He's
For
a
for
household
those
name.
people who don't know what the Seneschal is, very few of you, I'm sure.
Yes.
Who is the Seneschal?
Seneschal was a character in his short we did at one of our live shows, so people have hopefully seen it. But it was not a word we were familiar with. But if you're deep into Renfest lore or something, you might have either known a Seneschal or portrayed a Seneschal. It's a mid-tier feudal lord, I guess. And
Kind
he,
of an
but
administrator. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I got
yeah,
from it.
a middle manager.
a
And
flunky.
but he in our short, they're like, so the Seneschal walked in as if you'd know what that is, as if I was,
Right.
like, and then Shaquille O'Neal walked in. Of course, we all know him. But he had this green head wrap on that looks like they were just like, crap, actor had a bad hair day. We got to get something on him. So they just like
Give me
put a
that
yard of
towel.
fabric, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just walks around trying to sell a car and like buy some slippers from a guy, and a delightful character. But we did not do that. We waited probably a year or two later of talking about the damn thing, and then just finally decided we were going to do this. And it was the sort of thing where you'd write a chapter of this, you'd hand it off, and people were having such fun with it that it'd be like, all right, like the words just flew out of me. They were conduit to my keyboard, so people really just like passed it off and were like, real state of creativity to write this thing.
Yeah, can Sean or Kevin or both of you talk maybe a little bit about the like how we wrote it?
Yeah. John, go ahead, please.
Oh, sure. We're handing it off, much as how we wrote this book. We a buffet. Yes, one of us would write a chapter and seemingly escalate the weirdness and throw in whatever bizarre detail we could to make it more difficult for the next person who would pick up, right where they left off and
Yeah.
continue the story of Nick's private eye adventure. So you kind of have to roll with whatever they threw at you, reread everything that had come before, try to adhere where you could, and add more weird stuff for the next guy.
And then
Yeah,
depart like mad. And we
it
had
is
done this.
airtight,
Yeah.
airtight. All of us picked up on every single clue from the person before us.
You, Bill and Mike and I had done this long before on our ill-fated website, Timmy Big Hands. We did 2 different serial novels. And I think that was another thing that as soon as we found something that really sounded like it could be fun, we had wanted to do it again ever since we did it, because it's just really fun it's like literary improvisation. You're not only you're moving it in a hopefully funny in a different weird direction, and people sort of have to use their skills to take the ball you hand them and move around with it. And so it's just a great fun exercise. And I think it speaks to the fact that we've written together for so long, and that we really enjoy doing this sort of thing with each other.
In the improv parlance, you said there was a lot of making it work and trying to advance it, and then there was also what they call pimping out your scene partner, where it's like,
Right.
let's see you do something with this, man. This is not, the ball is not in my court anymore. Like, go nuts. Like,
I've added a sorcerer.
yeah. You've always said you could name 50 bird species, right? That's something you're on. Bitch.
Oh man. Well, we also we have, I think, the best cover ever for this. This is better than I could have imagined.
Gorgeous.
Right here. And I am going to plug it a little bit. Christmas is coming up. You could get this. You can just give this as a gift for anything. Christmas, birthday. If you want revenge on somebody, you could send it to them. I don't know.
I
The
suggest
announcement of
reading
People's
it.
Sexiest Man Alive.
I suggest reading passages of it at the holiday table.
Absolutely. Mike, would you like to start us out?
Well, the cover was by Bob Fingerman, and I think it's sort of
thank
like,
you, yes.
no one else could have painted the Sistine Chapel ceiling other than Michelangelo. And
Right.
if there was someone who was born to do the cover of The Naked Clone and Nick Nolte's visage there, along with Joe Don
can
Baker
you
and Mickey Rourke,
really
it's
zoom
Bob.
in on Nick's mug here, because this is Bob's specialty. It's really accurate. You can tell who it is, and yet there are sort of extra lumps or exaggerated ones, and it's like
Folds.
just amazing, just amazing. And then
He takes these things that are
like this, like whoa, partner.
He takes those things that are minor flaws, like a good caricature artist does, and it just exaggerates them until they're grotesque, and that's sort of his charm.
I hope to never have him draw me. I will have it.
Oh, he
Hard
drew Conor and I. Let me just say, it's so good, but it also I don't ever want to see it.
So Mike, we're probably not going to do this in full Nolte voice. There will be an audiobook, by the way, and we'll all participate. But we do have to care about our health and our vocal cords. But I will leave it up to everybody if they just want to do a straight, flat computer reading, just AI voice, or if they want to put a little English on the ball. Mike, I leave it to you.
Sure. Well, Conor sort of started. He wrote the first chapter, so maybe he could.
Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, no, but it's fine. But he could start the ball rolling, hit the cue ball, and give us a little taste, and then pass it off to me.
Okay. Yeah, I picked one from the 3rd chapter I worked on. So I guess that was chapter 11, and that was where Mike was like, let's maybe stop lobbing grenades at each other. And I was like, yeah, but let me introduce a whole multiverse here. But then, so this is after all that's happened, and I'll just read that because it had some of my favorite Nolte nicknames in it. It's like, I thought this was the end of Good King Nickersloss. I'll tell you that, fun dip. My laugh flashed before my eyes. First time I ever saw knockers in person. Making tides, meeting Carla, getting kicked out of the Brown Derby for trying to sell Adrienne Barbeau a burlap sack full of hair. That was more memories than I would have expected to retain, if I'm being honest. I had a good run. And Gary Busey has since latched on to his Adam's apple in the previous chapter to bite it. The old Adam's apple popped like the proverbial weasel. Wish I'd had a chance to watch a monkey chase a weasel around a mulberry bush. Probably could have made some good ka-ching taking side bets, especially if you found a weasel who had hit the skids and was willing to take a dive. I started to choke up a bit. Didn't think I had any regrets in it. Turns out there was a big one just as I was about to Rosie Ruiz across the finish line. I talk about a broad with the right attitude. Maybe she'll help me pull a fast one on Ezra when I get back to the pearly G's. Wait a second. How the hell am I choking up without an Adam's apple? And an even better question, why is the elder Busey clutching at his own throat and turning greener than that Kermit the Frog doll I fished out of an algae puddle and tried to shove through the window of Jonathan Litnicky's limo as a belated birthday present? And goes on to say that he had a throat implant that he got under a bridge in Tijuana in the middle of an ayahuasca bender, which is, a casual Tuesday night for Nick Nolte in our book.
Perfect.
Oh, I love it.
I also wanted to add, while I have the microphone, that I was at a birthday party with a 24-year-old like second cousin of mine 2 weeks ago. She had never heard of Nick Nolte when I was trying to describe this. The youth these days. I was like, sexiest man alive? Prince of Tides?
You are feeling it at this point. Imagine how we've been feeling it for an additional 15 years or so with you guys.
Yeah, right. You've never heard of the Snoop sisters? Come on.
Come on. Seminal watching. All right, Mike, give us some Nick.
Sure. Mine is, so I'm going to dive a little bit later, and this is when Nick also has, like, I can't remember how this happens. He has a duck version of himself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that kind of thing just happens. That's normal.
yeah. So they end up in some sort of trouble, and they end up together, and it'll all make sense here. The chapter opens with this. I have a corkscrew-shaped penis. Shut up, duck, I said, helping myself to a handful of his feathers, right about where a shirt collar would have been had he been some palooka and not a Nick Nolte duck from another dimension. I've got to think, so you shut that interdimensional duck trap of yours or I'll shut it for you. My son, Jake Busey, put his hands in his pockets and looked at his shoes as though there was something written on them. Hazel the rat pretended to be asleep. I paced quickly back and forth, now wearing the dark suit and snap-brim hat that I'd worn for the 2013 film Gangster Squad. Aside from the shuffle of my feet and the light traffic on Mariposa, things got quiet for a moment. Seriously, though, my penis is roughly 30 centimeters long. It has spines around the base and a soft brush-like tip, Nolte Duck continued. Damn it, Duck, I shouted, and clocked him one hard right on the bill. He collapsed on the sidewalk like a pillowcase full of dried chestnuts. If I regretted the act, I couldn't let the others know, so I pointed at the unconscious fowl and yelled, I warned you! Then I turned that finger toward my son and spun it back to the rat in my pocket as a caution. Both looked suitably chagrined. So there's
Nice.
little noir for you there.
I'm glad we had a little cameo by the duck, who later becomes known as Corky.
Yeah.
Just mysterious reasons.
The duck was introduced, and then the very next person that got handed off to went right to corkscrew penis.
I mean, what else do you know about ducks?
Did your second cousin at the party know about ducks having corkscrew
That's
penises?
what we pivoted
Connor?
to, yes. She had a tattoo. It was
That
impressive.
was the subject, and that led into the book, right? Kevin, you want to take Nick out for a spin?
You're muted, Kevin.
You're muted.
Kevin, well, muted.
Muted Nolte.
He was laughing too. Yeah.
Now I'm okay. Sorry. Sure. Of course. Yes. I just didn't want my laughter to, overrun anybody's reading, because I laugh every time I pick this thing up in any page, and I'll start laughing almost immediately. I'll say just as a preface that there is a sort of plot that finds its way through this book.
Yeah.
It's very thin, but it's there. And but we also found that when the book got handed off to me after Mike's second round, I noticed that he added a few footnotes. And then I thought, hey, we can do that too, can't we? That's a fun thing to do. It
David
makes it kind
Foster Wallace, this thing. Let's
of,
do
that's
it.
right.
Yeah.
It makes it kind of
House of Leaves, this sumbitch.
read it as a makes it hard to read it as an audiobook, but that will also be fun. I like having footnotes in an audiobook. So I'm just going to read this footnote in 14, and it sort of is the genesis of one of the things, our affectations for Nick, is that he has a nickname for everyone almost immediately. And this footnote was trying to explain how he came to be so good at it. So footnote 14 in chapter 13. Oh, there it is. You see, Shoehorns, every time you hear me throw out a moniker, be it tip switch or ring ball or shit biscuit, well, those ain't just random utterances pouring out of me like some foul-mouthed version of a holy roller. No, my friend, those are weapons. See, damn near a lifetime ago, after one too many visits to the Hooskow for simply punching out some pencil dick who didn't agree with me, I adopted the ancient martial art of epithet flinging. It's an obscure tradition perfected centuries ago by monks in Tibet. Or it might have been Italy. Hell, I can't remember. But I learned it from a sheep wrangler on the set of Death Valley Days, a fellow by the name of Stubby. Well, there I was, some kind of cocksure greenhorn actor strutting around the set. Suddenly I heard old Stubby call out, "Where you heading there, Cool Whip?" Then it was ball joint, and it was flatworm. Took the piss and vinegar right out of me. The man was an artist, a true master. I became his student, learned to use them word balls with precision, with subtlety, with grace. Now I was ready to take down Goldilocks, piece by dumbass piece. Goldilocks is referring to one of our favorite characters from one of our movies, Cold Iron, Detective Cold Iron, Captain
Iron.
Cold Iron, I think he is, yes.
Yeah.
Who becomes a character in the book.
Yep. Beautiful. Thank you.
That was wonderful, Kevin.
Thank you.
Forgot.
Yeah.
It's worthy of the of his power. That's
I like learning the art. You imagine like the David Carradine kung fu, thing playing. Being like, oh,
Exactly. And
I shall teach
this
you
is his,
the art.
his Zen
I love-
master.
The nicknames are a key part of it, and also people referring to him as Mr. Nolte. Mr.
Right.
Nolte. I just always love having a Mr. Nolte in there
Still-
after he's done something utterly depraved and
Right.
Sir.
He's still afforded respect by the onlookers. Like,
I had to almost just sort of like discipline myself not to make it pure digression, because I just love doing stream of consciousness with Nick's brain and have him tell stories. But this is one where he's driving furiously to a wedding that's about to take place. And so he's just sort of reflecting, as I often fell into the trap maybe of having him do a lot of times, but he's talking about driving here. One thing you want to know about your old buddy Nick is that I am a damn excellent driver. Mickey, I don't care what happens. I trust my motoring skills even at max velocity and min awakeness. Life comes at you fast, but Nick comes at you faster. Sometimes with his eyes closed. Been driving since I was 6 years old, and yeah, I've had a lot of accidents, and a fair amount of them have been fatal. And kind of a loaded legal word in this man's opinion, but I make it work. Sure, I slip in and out of consciousness quite a bit, and I have been known to take a vehicle through the wall of a sweet green in Carlsbad and not learn about it till later. But I get where I need to eventually, even if it takes a couple of years. So boy, howdy, folks. Big regrets I didn't get to see them kale-chomping freaks in Carlsbad scatter when that Yugo Cabrio I borrowed, not stole, came busting on through on three wheels and basically one hubcap, sending baby spinach and red cabbage and chairs and tables and one ponytailed manager guy way up into the air. I only heard about it later from my buddy Pegleg Andy, one of North San Diego County's best local peg leg dancers. His act is top notch. Catch him any weekend at 2 a.m. behind the dog groomers near the lagoon. Admission, one fistful of nickels and another fistful of Copenhagen long cut chaw. So driving like a pro, it's all about multitasking, folks. Can you drive while sleeping, passing out, getting your mind taken over by various damn non-physical entities who treat your brain like a Greyhound station and not even one of them stations with a decent nap-taking bathroom? Can you drive while doing all kinds of other stuff, including changing from your January underpants into your February underpants, while eating a half at Cinnabon you yoinked from some yuppie in Century City, whomst you distracted by throwing a dead pigeon near him or technically at him? Then you're probably me. Congratulations. Great job, you handsome stud. Little Nick humor there for you. What was I saying again? Yeah.
wow.
Oh,
Nick,
beautiful.
Don't be
Delightful.
on driving.
Just delightful.
Bravo.
That's Nick pedal to the metal for sure.
I like that
You got a peg leg guy in there. Peg leg guys are a running theme in the book as well.
Yes.
Rat guys and peg leg guys are critical to the story.
It is set at a sort of a no time, but there's a fair amount of early to mid 20th century hobo culture that finds its way into the to the beginning of the 21st century.
Well, if anyone would keep it alive, Nick and his fellow alley dwellers, I think would.
Yeah.
I remember when we were doing this, we had some point that was like, all right, it's been 4 chapters. He's been into 9 different alleys and he's passed out 4 times in them. So it's like, all right, the tone has been set.
Better
Aren't
have
there
him
that
pass
many
out.
alleys anymore?
There's a wonderful passage where Nick falls in love as he's sharing a can of Vienna sausages in a tarp and cardboard boxes, I think.
Yeah, a lot of lean-tos in this book.
Yeah, a lot of temporary structures loom large.
A lot
in
of
this,
temporary structures, yes.
Sean, do you want to tell us about your contribution?
Certainly. Yeah, I'll read something from chapter 10. One of the things that I kind of had fun with was like playing with our conception of Nick Nolte versus like real life movie star Nick Nolte, and trying to understand how our guy and that guy are the same guy. So this is in the middle of an action sequence, but it's a bit of a digression, like else that occurs during this really exciting scene. He and Mickey Rourke are storming a compound. I think that's self-evident. It's the kind of thing that would happen.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
As I was saying, me and Mickey was squatting in that techno ditch, scoping out the scene. To my surprise, he let out a little laugh. You know, Nick, this whole situation is kind of funny. It's like one of those movies where a group of actors suddenly have to do the things they've only pretended to do before. I just looked at him blankered in a school chalkboard on Christmas morning. Huh? Like Galaxy Quest. I ain't much for science, Mickey. 3 Amigos? The taco truck outside the FedEx terminal at LAX? I thought they got shut down for pickling their jalapenos in motor oil. Nick, you seriously haven't seen any of these movies? Truth be told, I've never seen an entire motion picture in my life. If I wanted to watch a made-up story, I'd ask Pegleg Dan to give me a huff of Scotch Guard and then paint me a picture with the power of his words. On top of his comedy stylings, the man's a damn poet. I guess the fact I've never watched a film might seem odd, given my long-term dance with the so-called screen trade. But every time I've found myself in a movie theater, whether for shelter or because I was an honored guest at the world premiere of Cats and Dogs, The Revenge of Kitty Galore, I used the time to catch up on Z's, check the crowd for easy marks, and use my monkey fingers, that's what I call my unusually prehensile toes, to scoop up any stray popcorn shards or milk duds in my immediate perimeter. So no, I don't think much of movies as an art form, but I do respect them as maybe the greatest grift in the history of grifterdom, which I realized they were before I was knee-high to a ticket booth. Mickey, save the lecture for the peckerheads at UCLA Film School. We got work to do.
Love it.
Oh, delightful.
He just doesn't see our version of Nick doesn't seem like someone who would like movies, I think.
No, right.
Yes.
Right.
What's in it for him? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Like, find
just
something
another
to eat
scam.
or
Yeah.
squeeze out some profit somehow.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that
Well,
makes
guys,
sense.
thank you for that. What information, Connor, do we have to give people about
Well, we're
where
gonna
to buy it immediately after watching this?
Yeah, go and buy it. You can buy it on Amazon. That's where only place you can get the paperback, or our site. It's also on Kindle. And we're going to record the audiobook at the end of January, correct?
Mhm.
Yep.
So, expect that a little after that, probably. And we're going to do giveaways on the RiffTrax site that I don't have any information about for signed copies that all 5 of us will sign. I think maybe during the Black Friday sale, definitely during the Christmas sale. I think if you buy X amount of product, you'll be entered to win one of those. So that will be exciting. Assuming the boxes survive being sent across the country 3 different times for everybody to sign them.
Yeah. We're
We're
putting
not
in
an
the effort. These are
efficient
real
team.
autographs. They are going to everyone's place. So
Yes.
this is real.
It sounds like a Nolte scheme, actually. An autograph forged copy of, Dan Brown's latest drivel.
By the time it gets back to you, it's accrued $700 in value. Well, thanks, you guys. Those were good choices, one and all.
Thanks. Yes.
Any final words on Nick before we say goodbye?
It's a quick read. It's a fun read. There's a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
It's nicely in a stocking for your grandmother or anyone.
It does.
Okay.
Grandmothers
people-
everywhere will love it.
I like the people who are like, I loved this. I read it in one sitting, hilarious, laughed out loud the entire time. 2 stars. It's, you know, it's like, what do you want from a book, man? Like, yeah,
Story of
it's
our
not
life.
War and Peace.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Folks,
everyone.
go check out our book. We think it's fun, and I think you will too. And
Hey.
if we sell a couple of million copies, we'll do another one.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Thanks all. See ya.
Bye.
Later.